All right, this is my Week 7 NFL Power Rankings. So let's get started. At number 32, we have the Carolina Panthers. Not much of a surprise. They are 0-6. They stay at number 32. They are just not been a good football team this year. This week they lost 42-21 versus the Dolphins. Bryce Young had 217 yards and a touchdown. Adam Thielen had 115 yards and a touchdown. So their offense played better this week than normal, but their defense let up 42 points, and they lost Jeremy Chin for potentially up to 6 weeks, which is not good for the defense. Number 31, we got the Arizona Cardinals dropping 3 spots from number 28. They are now 1-5. They just lost 26-9 versus the Rams. Their offense is just not looking good, which does make sense because the Cardinals are kind of a bad football team. Number 30, we got the Chicago Bears dropping 4 spots from number 26. They are now 1-5. They just lost 19-13 versus the Vikings, which isn't horrible because they only lost by 6, but their offense did look horrible. And Justin Fields got injured in that game and potentially can miss Week 7 and maybe even more games after that. And also Khalil Herbert and the receiver St. Brown are now on the IR, so that just hurts their offense even more, which, it's not good for them. Number 29 is the New England Patriots. They jumped up 2 spots from number 31. They are 1-5. They did just lose again, 21-17 versus the Raiders. But, at least they had a competent game this week, unlike Chicago or Arizona. So that's why they're moving up 2 spots. Mac Jones had 200 yards and a pick, which, isn't good, but Mac Jones also isn't good. So, yeah. Number 28 is the Giants, moving up 2 spots from number 30. They are also now 1-5. They just lost 14-9 versus the Bills with Tyrod Taylor as a starting quarterback. So their defense played amazing. Their offense sucked. But you're not going to expect much out of Tyrod Taylor, even though when Daniel Jones has been the offense, it's also sucked. So not looking good for the Giants, but they did have a really good defensive game this week. But also now their linebacker Ojulari is on the IR, so that could hurt their defense, which just had a really good game. And Daniel Jones he's questionable to return for Week 7, but it's looking like it's more unlikely for him to return. Number 27 is the Denver Broncos, jumping up 2 spots from number 29. They are also 1-5. They lost 19-8 versus the Chiefs, which, solid defensive performance, horrific offensive performance. Russell Wilson had 95 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. You're not winning games when you can't throw for at least 100 yards. And they just cut Frank Clark, who might end up going back to Kansas City. So not a good look for Denver. Atlanta Falcons dropping number 3 spots from number 23, now at number 26. They are 3-3 on the season, which is pretty solid, but they also started out 3-1. So now they've lost 2 weeks in a row. They just lost 24-16 versus the Falcons. Versus the Commanders. Desmond Ridder had 300 yards, which is pretty good, and 2 touchdowns, but he also had 3 interceptions, which is those interceptions were the main reason that they lost the game. Drake London had 125 yards himself, but like I said, Desmond Ridder threw 3 picks, and that is what lost them this game. Number 25 is the Minnesota Vikings, staying put at number 25 after beating the Bears 19-13, and they are now 2-4 on the season. So I feel like the Vikings should have beat the Bears by more than 6 points, especially because Justin Fields played like half the game. So, yeah, really poor performance for the Vikings, but they did come out with a win, but not an impressive win at all. And linebacker Marcus Davenport is on the IR, so that does not make things better. The Raiders at 24, staying at 24. They are also now 3-3. They just beat the Patriots 21-17. Not much of an accomplishment to beat the Patriots, but So a good win nonetheless. Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt in this game after having 162 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. So I mean, decent stats. Brian Hoyer came in and was looked solid. Jimmy Garoppolo is questionable for Week 7, but if not, it looks like Brian Hoyer is a starting quarterback. So things are not looking too great for the Raiders. Number 23 is the Tennessee Titans, dropping 3 spots from number 20. They are 2-4 on the season now. They just played the Ravens and lost 24-16, so it's a respectable loss versus the Ravens. But Ryan Tannehill sucked. He had 76 yards and 1 pick before he got hurt, and Malik Willis came in and actually had 74 yards and 5 passes. Malik Willis threw 5 passes and almost had more yards than Ryan Tannehill. So not looking good for Ryan Tannehill, which Mike Vrabel still said is the starting quarterback if he's healthy. They go into a bye week this week, and then the assumption is that Ryan Tannehill will be healthy in Week 8 and will be the starter, which is I think that is not the best option. I think Ryan Tannehill's time as a starter should, be done for this team at least. But yeah. Number 22 is the Indianapolis Colts, dropping 5 spots from number 17. They're now 3-3. They just lost 37-20 versus the Jaguars. So not a great game there, giving up 37 points. Gardner Minshew also, he had 329 yards and a touchdown, but also 3 interceptions, which is a lot of the reason why they lost the game. And it's not looking like Anthony Richardson is going to come back all this season anymore, so they're left with Gardner Minshew for the rest of the season, and potentially Sam Mellinger if Minshew is not getting the job done. And they also have a defensive tackle that is now suspended for 6 games, so that does not help. Number 21 is the Green Bay Packers, staying put at number 21. They had a bye week this week, not much to say about the Packers, but they did sign James Robinson as a running back. Maybe he could, give him, I think he's a pretty solid running back, but I mean, when you already have Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and Aaron Jones should be healthy this week, is what they're saying. So I don't know how much of an impact James Robinson is going to make behind Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, but we will see. Number 20 is the Commanders, jumping up 7 spots from number 27. They played the Falcons this week. They won 24-16, making them 3-3 on the season. Sam Howell had 151 yards, which isn't great, but he did throw 3 touchdowns, which, that's really good. And their defense played really solid this week, which is something that they have not done all season. So that's a good bright spot for the Commanders this week. Number 19 is New Orleans Saints, dropping 3 spots for number 16. They just lost 20-13 versus the Houston Texans. They are also now 3-3. This week, Derek Carr threw for 353 yards, which is really good. That's his season high, with 1 passing touchdown and 1 interception. So, I mean, he played pretty solid, I would say. But he also did get a mild injury, but they said he should be able to play Week 7. But also for the Saints, their offensive tackle Ryan Ramczyk and tight end Juwan Johnson are supposed to be injured for the Thursday night football game, so that does not help them, and I do think they will probably lose to the Jaguars if Trevor Lawrence gets to play. Number 18 is the Buccaneers, dropping 5 spots from number 13. They are now 3-2 after they just lost 20. They lost 20-6 versus the Detroit Lions. Baker Mayfield this week had 200 yards and 1 pick with no touchdowns, and their offense looked not good, which the offense has been pretty solid all season up to this point, and this week they looked, just flat out bad, so that's why they're dropping 5 spots. Number 17 is the Pittsburgh Steelers, moving up 1 spot from number 18 to number 17 after a bye week, and I don't have much to say about them, so that's all I got. Number 16 are the Houston Texans, moving up 3 spots from number 19, now at number 16, after they won against the Saints this week, 20-13. C.J. Stroud had 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he did finally throw his first interception of his career. But it took him 6 games to do that, and it's a pretty good accomplishment, I would say. They also, their safety, Eric Murray, is on the IR, so that could hurt their defense a little bit. But, I think this Texans team, the way they're playing, they do have a solid chance to potentially sneak in as a wild card spot, but probably not because the AFC is so loaded. Number 15 is the New York Jets, moving up 7 spots for number 22 after beating the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles 20-14. That is something I did not expect to see happening this week. Zach Wilson didn't even play good. He had 186 yards. But the thing is, they made Jalen Hurts throw 3 picks, which, that's what won them the game, obviously, was their defense. Zach Wilson did not throw any interceptions, so he did not do anything to make them lose the game, but he didn't do anything to make them win the game either. He just played decent enough that their defense could win the game, and that's all that Zach Wilson really needs to do for them to be able to make the playoffs. Especially with Aaron Rodgers' unbelievably quick recovery time, they said he could be playing games by potentially week 15, which would be absolutely insane. Number 14 is the Los Angeles Rams, moving up 1 spot from number 15. They are now 3-3 after they did just beat the Arizona Cardinals 26-9. So he had a solid victory, but it's over the Cardinals, so you should be beating them. Kyren Williams had 158 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp had 148 yards and a touchdown. But also, Kyren Williams got injured in this game and is supposed to be missing a few weeks. And the Rams did sign Darrell Henderson to replace Kyren Williams, who has been on the team before. So, he should already know the system and everything, but I don't think him or your current backup running back are going to be anywhere near as productive as Kyren Williams. Number 13 is the Los Angeles Chargers, dropping 2 spots from number 11 after losing to the Cowboys 20-17 on Monday Night Football. They are now 2-3. So for the Chargers, Justin Herbert had 227 yards and 2 touchdowns with 1 interception, so he played pretty good. But he did miss a lot of throws towards the end of that game, especially one to Keenan Allen, I think, on their last drive, which could have resulted in a touchdown, I believe. So he missed some key throws in this game. But it is what it is. I think the Chargers, at least their defense showed that they could hold high-powered offense. They could hold high-powered offense like the Dallas Cowboys to only 20 points. So their defense showed promise. So I think the Chargers should be pretty good. Number 12 is the Cleveland Browns, jumping 2 spots from number 14 to number 12 after beating the undefeated San Francisco 49ers 19-17. You may think that they should move up more than 2 spots, but they still don't have Deshaun Watson back. And he's doubtful for week 7, so a bit of an issue. Their quarterback this week was P.J. Walker. He threw for less than 200 yards and 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So it was entirely their defense that won them this game, forcing Brock Purdy to throw a couple interceptions. And your running back, Kareem Hunt, got injured in this game and is questionable in week 7. So if you do not have Deshaun Watson or Kareem Hunt, I don't think P.J. Walker is winning you a lot of games, especially if he's going to throw for less than 200 yards and 2 picks. You're not going to win a lot of games. Your defense just played really good, and you guys got lucky, I think. Number 11 is Seattle Seahawks, dropping 5 spots from number 6 all the way to number 11. They did not have a bad game this week. They lost 17-13 versus the Bengals. Geno had 300 yards and 2 interceptions, which, not great there. Kenneth Walker had 90 yards and a touchdown, so their offensive, they still put a lot of yards on offense, but not a lot of points. That's the main issue. They need to score more than 13 points to win a game. But yeah, also their corner Kobe Bryant is on the IR now, so that should hurt their defense a little bit. But their defense is not the problem. They only let the Bengals score 17 points. Their offense has just got to rebound from this week and do better going forward. Number 10 is the Cincinnati Bengals, moving up 2 spots from number 12 to number 10, moving up to 3-3 on the year after beating the Seattle Seahawks 17-13. Joe Burrow in this game did not play particularly well. He had only 185 yards with 2 touchdowns and a pick, which is, it's pretty solid, but just not a lot of yards. But yeah, the Bengals, I thought the offense found their footing the last couple weeks, but this week it was not the offense that won the game. It was entirely their defense. When you only score 17 points and you win the game, the win is definitely credited to your defense. Number 9 is the Jaguars. They stay at number 9, even after destroying the Colts 37-20 and moving to 4-0 or 4-2 on the season. You may think they should move up, but I think the main reason they're not is because of their injuries. Trevor Lawrence is now questionable for Week 7, and if he doesn't play Week 7, they're definitely not winning that game. They have a corner, Christian Braswell, on the IR. Corner Tyson Campbell and wide receiver Zay Jones are already out Thursday, so even if Trevor Lawrence does play, it's not going to be an easy game for them Thursday against the Saints. And if any of these injuries linger on for much longer than just 1 week, then they could be having some serious troubles on the line, especially if Trevor Lawrence injury caused him to miss a couple weeks. Number 8 is the Dallas Cowboys, moving up 2 spots from number 10 to number 8. They are now 4-2 after beating the Chargers 20-17 on Monday Night Football. This game, Dak Prescott had 272 yards and a touchdown with another rushing touchdown on top of it. So he played really solid. Their offense was, all right. They had really good defense this week, but the Cowboys also have a couple key injuries now, with corner CJ Goodwin on the IR. And linebacker Leighton Vander Esch on the IR. So took a couple hits to their defense, even though their defense played amazing this game, only letting the Chargers score 17 points. It could be a problem going forward, missing those 2 players. Number 7 is the Ravens, moving up 1 spot from number 8 to number 7. They beat the Titans 24-16 this week, coming on to 4-2 on the year. Lamar Jackson was all right with 223 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, so he played decent. The real winner of this game was Justin Tucker, who, we already knew was a great kicker, but he was 6 for 6 on field goals this week. So him alone outscored the entire Tennessee Titans team. So that's really what won them the game, is that Justin Tucker is him. Number 6 is the Buffalo Bills, moving up 1 spot from number 7 to number 6. They beat the Giants 14-9. On Sunday Night Football, which is, not an impressive victory at all. They are 4-2, but, you only won by 5 points against the Giants. That's really sad. Josh Allen had only 169 yards with 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. Not great. Their kicker was 0 for 2 from field goals. Not good. I don't know how you only scored 14 points against the Giants, but your defense did do their part with only letting the Giants score 9 points, so pretty good there. Your offense has got to be better against a bad team as the Giants. Number 5 is the Eagles, dropping 3 spots from number 2 all the way to number 5 after losing their first game of the season to Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. So I don't know how the Eagles managed to lose to Zach Wilson, but they did. Jalen Hurts had 280 yards and a touchdown, but also 3 picks. And another rushing touchdown on top of it. So he had 280 yards and 2 touchdowns, but with 3 interceptions, which is the main reason that they lost the game. Some key injuries for the Eagles too. Quez Watkins on the IR. Safety Justin Evans is on the IR. They did sign Julio Jones, which should at the very least replace what Quez Watkins has been doing for them, right? That's at least the bare minimum expectation for Julio Jones. I don't expect too much out of him because he is pretty old, but if he can be a decent receiver, he could definitely be a solid piece of this offense. Number 4 is the 49ers, also dropping 3 spots from number 1 to number 4 after losing their first game of the season. They are now 5-1 on the season after losing 19-17 versus the Cleveland Browns. In this game, Brock Purdy had 125 yards with a touchdown and 1 pick, so he did not play good. The kicker was 1 for 3, so he did not play good. They did have some injuries this week, which is a lot of why they did not win this game. Trent Williams was injured in this game. Deebo Samuel was injured in this game. Christian McCaffrey was injured in this game. So that's the big reason that you can blame this team for not winning, is because they are missing 3 of their key offensive players, and all those players are probable to play for Week 7. So I believe the 49ers should bounce back. Number 3 is the Detroit Lions, moving up from number 5 to number 3. They are also now 5-1 on the season, tied for the best record in the league with a few teams. But the Lions this week beat the Bucks 20-6, so they had an amazing defensive game and a decent offensive game. Jared Goff played really good with 353 yards and 2 touchdowns, so he did really great this week. Amon-Ra had 124 yards and 1 touchdown of his own. So yeah, the Lions offense, Jared Goff mainly did really good. The running game did not do a lot this week. That's probably partially because David Montgomery got hurt, which isn't the worst thing in the world, because now you actually have an excuse to use Jahmyr Gibbs for a lot more touches, which hopefully is something that they do. They also did lose corner Emmanuel Mosley on the IR, so that should hurt their defense a little bit because he was a pretty solid corner, but usually their offense is going to make up for anything their defense lacks. Number 2 is the Miami Dolphins, moving up from number 4 to number 2 after winning 42-21 versus the Carolina Panthers. They were very close to being number 1 on this list, but I'll explain why they are not in a little bit. Tua this week had 262 yards and 3 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert had 132 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill had 163 yards and 1 touchdown. Their offense was absolutely incredible. Once again, shocker, right? Their defense could have done better. They let Bryce Young have the best game of his young career so far. They have put up the most points Bryce Young has put up, but you're not going to be too upset when you still beat them by double their points. And also a good thing for them is Jalen Ramsey wasn't supposed to be back to week 15 or week 16. He's already opened his 21-day practice window, which means he is way ahead of schedule. So that's good for them. Now we get on to our number 1 team, which is Kansas City Chiefs, moving up from number 3 to number 1. So like I said, I did have them at number 2 and Miami at number 1. But the Chiefs this week, they beat the Broncos 19-8. Not a great week for them, offensively at least. Mahomes had 300 yards and a touchdown and a pick, so he didn't play amazing. Kelsey had 124 yards. He played really solid. But the main reason why I did have the Chiefs over the Dolphins this week is because they traded for Mecole Hardman, so that should help their offense be a little bit better, because I think Mecole Hardman's probably the second best receiver on this team now, behind only Kadarius Toney. So he should definitely be a good player and a good asset for this offense. And defensive end Charles Omenihu is back from his 6-game suspension, so their defense, which has been doing really good so far to this point, should be even better. And they're in talks with signing Frank Clark. Not a done deal, but they're definitely in the talks of signing Frank Clark, which, would just make this defense absolutely elite, in my opinion at least. And now we go on to my game picks for this week, which I got the Jaguars over the Saints. That is only if Trevor Lawrence is playing, which they said he's questionable, and I'm assuming he's going to play, but if he's not playing, the Jags are not winning that game. I got the Falcons over the Bucks. I think that game could go either way, but I just think the Falcons will bounce back from last week, because that's usually what they do. They usually have a good week followed by a bad week, and by that pattern, they're on track to have a good week. I have the Lions upsetting the Ravens. I didn't change my lock of the week and upset of the week in typing over here on the right side, but Blues I upset and red's my lock. So Lions are my upset of the week. I'm not sure why they're an upset over the Ravens, because Lions have a better record. Lions have a better offense. Lions arguably have a better defense considering how they just did last week. So I don't really know why they're the underdog, but yeah, they're my pick. I have the Commanders over the Giants. Giants aren't winning this game if Tyrod Taylor is a starting quarterback. That's just not happening. I got the Bills over the Patriots. That should be, Bills should win that game easily. I have the Raiders over the Bears. I mean, I feel like this is a game the Bears could win if they were healthy, but Justin Fields is doubtful to even play, so Tyson Bagent or whatever is not winning that game. The Browns over the Colts. I mean, the Browns just beat the Niners, so they should be able to beat the Colts, right? The Seahawks is my lock of the week over the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, Cardinals suck, Seahawks don't suck, and they just lost this week, so they have to get back on track with an easy victory over the Cardinals. So that's what I think in there. Got the Rams over the Steelers. I mean, Steelers got a good defense, but I think the Rams offense has been doing really solid the last couple weeks, and they're going to be throwing the ball a lot this week with Kyren Williams out. So I think the Rams will win that game. I got the Packers over the Broncos. That could go either way. I could see the Broncos definitely winning that game. But I mean, I'm going to go with the Packers, especially because I think Aaron Jones should be back and playing this week, which that definitely helps them a little bit. The Chiefs over the Chargers. I mean, the Chiefs have been the best team in football to this point, and they just got an extra addition to their offense and defense they did not have last week, so that should help them. Eagles over the Dolphins. That should be the game of the week, which I believe it is Sunday Night Football. So. I mean, rightfully so. That's going to be an amazing game to watch. It could definitely go either way. I picked the Eagles mostly because I trust their defense more, but I could definitely easily see the Dolphins winning that game. I just, had to make a decision, and either way, I'm not 100% confident. I have the Niners over the Vikings. I am 100% confident in that. I don't think the Niners are going to lose 2 weeks in a row, especially when they're playing the Vikings, who do not have a good defense. They only lost to the Browns because they have a really good defense and the Niners had some injuries. Niners, assuming the guys are healthy this week and, the Vikings defense just isn't as good as the Browns defense, they should have no trouble winning that game. So my record for week 6 was 9-6, which is our worst record on the season so far, but it is still a winning record, so can't be too upset about that. My total record is 65-28, which is still a pretty solid total record if you ask me. My lock of the week record is 7-1 after my Bills did secure my lock of the week last week over the Giants. My upset of the week is now 5-1 after the Patriots did lose to the Raiders last week. So making me miss on my first upset of the week. But, still a pretty solid week overall for me. These are my picks. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And make sure to check back next week for a new video. Thank you for watching.